very interesting section, which has many important points, many discussion points, etc. We'll try to discuss as much as possible. So we are at a stage where we have just finished Lord Rishabhadev's Leela, and Rishabhadev has wind off his pastimes. Now his eldest son Bharata, we are going to see his pastimes, which will be filling this unit. Okay, so before we get into the actual pastime and discussion, let us offer some prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam sukamgha tamrita drapasamyatam pivata bhagavatam rasamalayam mukharagorasika bhuvibhavakaha Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudiraye Nashtaprayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki Om Jnanatimarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadadi Sapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Sri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakhagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakhagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanusate Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangal Langayate Grimit Mande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram Kathanchana Smrite Yasmin Dushkaram Sukaram Bhave Smrite Paritam Syat Sri Chaitanyam Namamitam. Hare Krishna. So Krishna Rupa Mataji is still saying that voice is not audible. So I think it is audible for everybody else, correct?
Yeah, Prabhu, I logged in from another mobile now and it is audible, Prabhu.
Okay, very good. Our problem is solved. Okay, good. So, what is the title of fifth canto? Sannata Hai. What is the title of fifth canto? If you just close the book and open it, and on the front page, the title will be written. What will be the title?
Creative impetus.
Creative impetus. What is creative impetus in Sanskrit? What is creative impetus in Sanskrit?
Uti.
Uti, yes. Yeah. So, generally, we are many our acharyas or some of our acharyas also said, and our general understanding is that fifth canto deals with sthanam, right? Because there are descriptions of planetary system, that is blah blah blah. So, but interestingly, Prabhupada calls fifth canto as Uti, creative impetus. Why? Any philosophical speculation? Anything? Okay. Seems to be nothing. Okay. So the point is that our environment is a function of our consciousness. This is the most important point. And whatever environment which is around us, And that environment is existing because of our consciousness. We have a certain consciousness, and that consciousness manifests a certain environment or places us in a certain environment. So the different planetary systems are simply reflections of different type of consciousness of the living entity in the material condition. So according to the different consciousness and different impetus of the living entity goes to different planetary systems. Brahmanda Brahmite Kone Bhagyavan Jiv Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktirata Bij. So in that Brahmanda Brahmite, these two words, Brahmanda Brahmite. Why Brahmite? Because of consciousness. There is some consciousness which causes the living entity to go up and down. Niyati Paditan Sarga Nirayav. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. So basically the different planetary systems are there to satisfy the different desires of the conditioned soul. Otherwise, there is no business for these planetary systems to exist. It's not that the Krishna wants these planetary systems, this deep, Palaksha deep, Korancha deep, this deep, everything you're going to study. Krishna doesn't want all these things. Krishna has his own place, which is Vaikuntha Goloka. He has his own place. He doesn't want these places. He doesn't want these 14 planetary systems. So the 14 planetary systems is a circus which we have created due to our desires, due to our consciousness. And in this circus, we are sometimes going up, sometimes going down. And that is also based on our consciousness. Krishna makes this clear in Bhagavad Gita. In the 8th chapter, he says, Yam yam va vismaran bhavam, tijatyante kalaivaram tam tam yevaiti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. That whatever consciousness you have, whatever state of mind you have at the time of quitting the body, according to the state of mind, you will get another body. As simple as that. So that along with that body comes an environment, which is a package with that body. Like for example, a man likes his dog and he thinks dog is man's best friend. And then he thinks that dog is his family and he's always thinking about the dog. So he is preparing to get a dog's body because at the time of death, it's most likely that he will remember his dog, and then he will be born in an environment of dogs, and all these dogs will have loving interaction with him in that body, and then say bow bow bow. He will also say bow bow bow. So this way he will continue his life. So therefore, it is a simple fact that the environment which is around us is simply a function of our consciousness. By a particular consciousness, we choose a particular type of environment. This becomes very, very clear in this pastime, the pastime of Bharat Maharaj. This point becomes very clear. The importance of having the right type of consciousness and the consequence of not having the right type of consciousness, the power of bhakti. All these different things will be discussed in this particular section. Previously also, Rishabhadev has discussed this point. Evam mana karmavasam prayunkte avidyatmani upadiyamani. He said that because of karmavasana, so he is simply stuck in this material existence. He is just going through this material existence because of karmatmakam yena sharira bandhaha. This mind has become karmatmaka. Prabhupada translates this as colored by karma. The mind becomes colored by karma. So the mind has taken karma as atmaka. Atmaka means karma as self-identity. A certain activity he has taken as his self-identity. While it is not his self-identity, definitely, but he has somehow taken it as his self-identity, karmatmaka. And what is the consequence of taking such a self-identity? Sharira bandhaha. He got entangled in a body. This is the whole point. He discussed this before. Rishabhadev discussed this before. And this pastime will further explain this whole point. That when we take upadi in Bhakti Samrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami is quoting from Narada Pancharatra, Sarva upadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam krishikena krishikesha sevanam bhaktiruchyate. When we take some upadhi as our own, then what happens? What happens? This will be discussed in this pastime very elaborately. So, in one sense, this pastime is kind of explanation of that sloka. Pritirnayavan mayi vasudeve namuchyate dega yogena tavat. Unless he develops love towards Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pritirnayavan mayi vasudeve. So he has to develop love for Godhead. Once he develops love of Godhead, then this connection, Deha Yoga, this connection with the body, this has to be broken. So the process of breaking the connection is Vasudeva Priti. So this will be discussed. This point will be discussed. Let's see. Let's go on with our life, and then we'll see where it takes us. Yes, Krishna Rupa Mataji.
So, Prabhuji, if I understand you correctly, currently we have a false impetus for activity, which is desire for fruitive work. And this conditioned soul is forgotten his eternal Lord. And thus there is, he has this impetus for fruitive activity for his own, maintenance. And that is why he's, behind all this work in this material world. All his karma vasanas are also there. They have getting accumulated, and then they keep on piling birth after birth. And then every material activity that we are performing, it is creating some impression in our consciousness, and then we're taking light on. Then true impetus will be that we connect with the Supreme Lord and go back home, back to Godhead in his personal abode. Is it the right understanding, Prabhu?
Yeah, it's a good summary. It's a very good summary. It's a good summary of whatever we wanted to discuss. That this is what is happening. That we have a certain impetus which is coming from the three modes. Our present impetus is coming from the three modes: Prakriti Kriyamana Gune Karmani Sarvasaha, Ahankara Vimodhatma Kartaham iti manyate. Our present impetus is coming from the three modes, and we have become victim of the three modes. But when the impetus comes out of love, not out of lust, Krishna discusses in 3rd chapter Bhagavad Gita, the impetus which is coming out of lust. It's not very good impetus. The impetus has come out of lust. But when the impetus comes out of love, love for Krishna, love for spiritual master, love for the Acharya Parampara, when the impetus comes out of that love, then we are in the right path. We can be positioned correctly. We can be in the right position, and then we can move forward. That's the point. Okay, so I think some of you are familiar with our system of operation. I don't know if there are some new students who are not so familiar. But generally what we do, we kind of read a few translations, then go back and read some purports which are highlighted, and then have some discussion based on that. This is what we generally do. So, Englisham Prabhu is here, or he left? No, he left. He's not there. He was there to introduce, I think so. Is there some sort of student coordinator? Is someone there as a student coordinator? Or this is...
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yes, who is that?
We are here in class. Shyam
Oh,
Jagannath.
yes, Prabhuji. Yeah. So is there some sort of reading order, or is just free for all kind of thing?
Yeah, we are here in the classroom. We can read as you say.
If
can
there's
see,
a
we
reading
can-
order, you can just follow the reading order, or you can just pass the mic and read.
Yeah, we have here mic. We can read in a sequential order, Prabhuji.
Yeah, okay. So we are solved. So then maybe others will complain saying that, oh, only the classroom fellows are reading. We are not reading. We are also equal citizens in this country. We have the same right. We have reading rights. Then there will be a reading right riot. How to handle that? We don't have any way of handling that reading right riot. Best is to have a reading order from tomorrow. If we can make a reading order from tomorrow of all the students, so that we become an equal opportunity employer, and then we employ everybody in reading. Today we'll just leave it to fate. If it is possible, then it will be nice. Okay, so today we start with whatever is available. Tomorrow onwards, if we have some luck, we'll have a reading order. Okay, good. So please start, Prabhuji. Please start reading the translation. Is the screen visible?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see your screen. Yeah.
What about the classroom devotees? Do you have
Yeah,
some?
we can, yes, we can see the screen, Prabhuji.
But is the letters visible enough for you to read, or
Yeah, letters are also visible.
Jai Ho, screen is visible, letter is visible. Today is such a nice day. Let's read.
But it can be little bigger.
But it can be little bigger. Yeah. There's always room for improvement.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is this okay, or you want to bigger? I can make it bigger also.
Yeah, a little more bigger.
Ah.
Yeah, now it
Please-
is okay. Now,
You please tell me when to stop, okay?
yeah, it's good. It's enough. Good.
It's good. Okay. Okay. Okay, please read translation.
Sukadeva Goswami continued, speaking to Maharaj Parikshit. My dear king, Bharat Maharaj. Bharat Maharaj was a topmost devotee, following the orders of his father, who had already decided to install him on the throne. He began to rule the earth accordingly. When Bharat Maharaj ruled the entire globe, he followed the orders of his father and married Panchajani, the daughter of Vishwarup.
Yeah, so previously when when Rishabhadeva advised his 100 sons, he told them that your eldest brother, Maharaj Bharata, you should follow him and you should render service to him because he's a great personality. So already Bharat Maharaj's greatness has been confirmed by his father, Rishabhadev. And now Bharat Maharaj is also ruling accordingly. He married and then he is ruling. Yeah. Please continue.
Just as the false ego creates the subtle sense objects, Maharaj Bharat created 5 sons in the womb of Panchajani, his wife. These sons were named Sumati, Rashtrabrata, Sudarshana, Avarna, and Dhumraketu.
Yeah, okay.
Formerly, this planet was known as Ajnabavarsha. But since Maharaj Bharata's reign, it has become known as Bharatvarsha.
Okay. Yes. Continue.
Maharaj Bharat was very learned and experienced king on this earth. He perfectly ruled the citizens, being himself engaged in his own respective duties. Maharaj Bharat was an affectionate to the citizens as his father and grandfather had been. Keeping them engaged in their occupational duties, he ruled the earth.
Yeah, this is the main purpose of the kings, that they should actually keep them engaged in occupational duties. Okay. Please continue.
With a great faith, King Bharata performed various kinds of sacrifice. He performed the sacrifice known as Agnihotra, Darsha, Purnamasa, Chaturmasya, Pashu Yajna, where his horse is sacrificed, and Soma Yajna, where a kind of beverage is offered. Sometimes these sacrifices were performed completely and sometimes partially. In any case, in all the sacrifices, the regulation of Chaturhotra were strictly followed. In this way, Bharat Maharaj worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. Okay. Next, please read.
After performing the preliminaries of various sacrifices, Maharaj Bharat offered the results in the name of religion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev. In other words, he performed all the yagyas for the satisfaction of Lord Vasudev, Krishna. Maharaj Bharat thought that since the demigods were different parts of Vasudeva's body, he controls those who are explained in the Vedic mantras. By thinking in this way, Maharaj Bharat was freed from all material contaminations, such as attachments, lust, and greed. When priests were about to offer the sacrificial ingredients into the fire, Maharaj Bharat expertly understood how the offering made to different demigods was simply an offering to the different limbs of the Lord. For instance, Indra is the arm of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Surya, the sun, is his eyes. Thus, Maharaj Bharat considered that the oblations offered to different demigods were actually offered unto the different limbs of the Lord Vasudeva.
So, because he was a king and he had to do with different type of sacrifices, which was destined for him as a part of his prescribed duty. So he had to please different demigods. This is there in the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita, that you please the demigods will please you. So you have a very mutually cordial relationship, and then use the process of yajna to get whatever you want, because yajna is called as Shishta Kama Dukha, that it can give everything. So this way, he had his prescribed duty to do the different yajnas to please the demigods, but he did not consider the demigods as someone who is independent. And then he offered oblations to the different parts of the Lord's body, because all the demigods are all the forms, different forms of the Lord. Okay, please continue.
In this way, being purified by the ritualistic sacrifices, the heart. Hare Krishna. In this way, being purified by ritualistic sacrifices, the heart of Bharat Maharaj was completely uncontaminated. His devotional service unto Vasudev, Lord Krishna, increased day after day. Lord Krishna, the son of Vasudev, is the original personality of Godhead, manifest as a super soul Paramatma, as well as the impersonal Brahman. Yogis meditate upon the localized Paramatma situated in the heart. Jnanis worship the impersonal Brahman as the supreme absolute, and devotees worship Vasudev, the supreme personality of Godhead, whose transcendental body is described in the Shastras. His body is decorated with the Srivatsa, the Kaustubha jewel, and a flower garland, and his hands hold a conch shell disc, club, and lotus flower. Devotees like Narada always think of him within their hearts.
Okay.
Destiny fixed the time for Maharaj Bharata's enjoyment of material opulence at 1000 times 10,000 years. When that period was finished, he retired from family life and divided the wealth he had received from his forefathers among his sons. He left his paternal home, the reservoir of all opulence, and started for Pulaha Ashram, which is situated in Hardwar. The Saligram Silas are obtainable there.
Okay, so he ruled and then he left. Okay, so up to this point, we'll just read what our purports are there. This is kind of end of one section, which describes Maharaj Bharat's activities as ruler in very brief. We don't find his activities as ruler for a long time. There's not a big description, just very brief description. Okay, please read the purport.
It is most important that the chief executive rule the citizens by keeping them fully engaged in their respective occupational duties. It is the duty of the government to see that the citizens act according to these material divisions for their spiritual advancement. No one should remain unemployed or unoccupied in any way. One must work as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra on the material path. And on the spiritual path, everyone should act as a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi. Although formally the government was a monarchy, all the kings were very affectionate toward the citizens, and they strictly kept them engaged in their respective duties.
So basically, the point is that there was no unemployment because everyone was engaged according to their inclination and according to their prescribed duty. So there was no question of unemployment, and people are fully employed. And that employment was based on mode of goodness. So therefore, naturally, everyone was progressing towards Krishna consciousness. That's the whole point in a proper Varnashram system, because the Brahmana is the head of the society. So then he's in mode of goodness, then he takes the whole society in mode of goodness. The mode of goodness predominates the whole society, even though the Vaishyas may have little of passion and the Shudras may have some ignorance and all these things may be there. But still, because they are under the guidance of Brahmana, who is actually in mode of goodness, so therefore, all their passion and ignorance, they are all properly regulated and controlled, and then everything moves very smoothly. Otherwise, in Kali Yuga, we find that the society is ruled by mode of ignorance. It is controlled by people who are in mode of ignorance. The so-called leaders of the society, they are no better than the four animals. The Swavit Varahostra Karair, Samstuta Purusha Pashu. We find that these people are no better than these four animals. So therefore, naturally, society is predominated by ignorance. There is overwhelmingly this mode of ignorance and mode of passion in the society. Therefore, all these kind of issues are there. There's unemployment, there is riot, there is misunderstanding, there is a fight for equal opportunity. All these different things come because of the basic problem of mode of ignorance. Of course, in mode of ignorance, nobody is satisfied. Nobody is satisfied. In mode of goodness, everyone is satisfied. And because the society is predominated with mode of ignorance and mode of passion, we are also told that not being satisfied is a qualification. This is another point, that we are being taught that the qualification of an achiever is that he is not satisfied. Because achievement itself has been wrongly defined. People don't know what is achievement and what is not achievement. So there is a definition of achievement, that what is the achievement? That is not very clear in Kali Yuga. The sense of achievement itself, because it is ruled by mode of ignorance. So therefore, ignorant enjoyment is considered as achievement. Is considered as achievement. And a satisfied person is considered as an incompetent person. This is when a person is satisfied, then he is considered incompetent person. Oh, he is satisfied, that means he is incompetent. So Kali Yuga society is a very strange society. And we are in this strange society, what to do? But the point is that we require a model. That's why ISKCON is there. That's why Prabhupada said that 50% of his mission is to establish Varnashram. He made statements like this towards the end of his life. His manifested Leela, he started making such statements. Because we require a model. We require a model which is governed by mode of goodness. When that model is there, and when people are able to see that within that model, everything can flourish and everybody can be happy. And it's not that there will be no advancement. It's not that we will go back to Stone Age and start living in caves. We can utilize scientific advancement. We can utilize the resources of this material world, but in a model which is predominated by mode of goodness, instead of a model which is predominated by mode of ignorance. We can have different type of occupational duties. There's no problem. We can have different type of education. There's no issue. All these things can coexist, but in a model which is predominated by mode of goodness. So when people have to see it, when they see it, then they'll believe it. In Kali Yuga, it is like that. Seeing is believing. If you see, then you can believe. If you simply talk, then people cannot relate to so much. They cannot believe also. So therefore, Prabhupada said that ISKCON is meant to be a society, supposed to be a society which is meant to make Brahmanas. So we have to create that model. We have the responsibility of creating that model. A society which is self-sufficient and which actually is predominated by mode of goodness, which is run by Brahmanas, where everyone is happy and everyone is satisfied. When we make that model, then the world will follow that model. So it has to be made. It cannot be ignored. It should be made. The model should be made. Okay, please read.
With great faith, King Bharat performed various kinds of sacrifices.
We read translation already. We are reading purport.
Animals like horses, like hogs and cows, were offered in sacrifice to test the proper execution of the sacrifice. Otherwise, there was no purpose in killing the animal. Actually, the animal was offered in the sacrificial fire to get a rejuvenated life. Generally, an old animal was sacrificed in the fire and it would come out again in a youthful body. Some of the rituals, however, did not require. Generally, an old animal was sacrificed in the fire and it would come out again in the youthful body. In this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden. The offering of a horse in sacrifice, the offering of a cow in sacrifice, the acceptance of the order of sannyas, the offering of oblations flesh to the forefathers, and a man's begetting children in his brother's wife. After all, sacrifices are executed to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this age of Kali, the Supreme Lord, in his incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, should be worshipped with his associates by performance of Sankirtan Yajna, the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. This process is accepted by intelligent men. Yajanti hi sumedasa. The word sumedasa refers to intelligent men who possess very good brain substance.
Yeah, so there are different things which are forbidden in Kali, and one of the things which is forbidden is also sannyas, because sannyas is not such an easy ashram in Kali Yuga. Especially if a man takes sannyas, then sometimes unscrupulous women, they get more interested in a sannyasi than a normal man. And many of you are brahmacharis. Sometimes you may also face a situation that somehow the saffron color is very attractive for everybody, for men, women, for everybody. The saffron color is quite attractive. So therefore, it's not very easy to take sannyas in Kali Yuga, and one should think very carefully while taking sannyas in Kali Yuga. One should be very strict. One should not, even brahmachari life, if someone wants to remain Naishtika brahmachari, one should be very careful in Kali Yuga, because Kali Yuga is a place where there is so much of distraction. I think you guys know this better than me. I don't have to say this to you. So the point is that one should be very careful. One should be very careful. One should not take it for granted that yes, I am immune from Maya. I can do something which is where Maya will not affect me. One should not think like that, because there's a clear injunction that in Kali Yuga, sannyas is prohibited. So we are doing something which is exactly not in line with the injunction or the strength of the holy name for the sake of preaching. Such risk has to be taken. We have to take risk. Somewhere we have to take risk. Spiritual accepting a body is the biggest risk which has been taken. So we have taken that biggest risk. We should not never accepted the body. Rishabhadev says that na sadhu manye. The Atma should have never accepted this body. So it's a huge risk. Now, in order to get out of this risk, we should take some more risk. Sometime brahmacharya ashram, sometime grahastha ashram. Grahastha ashram is also risk, because people think grahastha ashram means okay, I can do whatever nonsense, I can be grahastha, I can engage in whatever type of life I want to engage in, because I am grahastha. No, this is not grahastha ashram. Grahastha ashram also means very strict, restricted and regulated sense gratification. Recently, I was in an initiation ceremony by His Holiness Yoram Swami Maharaj, and he was asking, it was a very simple, sweet ceremony. Only 3 disciples are getting initiated, Harinam, and 2-3 were getting Brahman initiation. So that's a very, very intimate ceremony. It's only a few people invited. in the in this apartment for the Hungary Yatra here in Mayapur, and Maharaj was sitting in the terrace and he gave his initiation lecture on a nice, pleasantly sunny winter morning. It was pleasantly sunny, and Maharaj's lecture was even more pleasant. There he specifically mentioned this point. He said that he asked for the initiation vows from the candidates, and the candidates recited their initiation vow: no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling. So Maharaj spent some time on this particular initiation vow, which is no illicit sex. And he explained that nowadays people are thinking no illicit sex means that no sex outside marriage. He explained that even within marriage, if sex life is meant for recreation, then he said that this is also illicit sex. Is not this is not considered as not illicit sex. So he took some pain to explain this point. He said that nowadays there's a lot of misunderstanding that within the marriage, if husband and wife are having sex, not for procreation but for recreation, they think that it's not illicit sex. Of course, it is not sinful, but our definition of illicit sex is not only to avoid sin, but our definition of illicit sex is also to get Krishna Prema. So, therefore, Maharaj made it a point to specifically explain to his new initiates that they should have full understanding of what it means, no illicit sex. So, even Grahastha life is not that, okay, husband is there, wife is there, whenever we want, we can have a nice time. Let's have some grand gala time. This is not Grahastha life. This is Grahamedi life. Griheshu Grahamedina. Nidriya Hriyate Naktam Vavayana Chavavayaha Dive Charte Haya Rajan Kutamba Bharanenava. So this is Grahamedi life. This was explained in the very beginning of second canto. It was explained. So everyone is supposed to practice renunciation and self-control. Grahasthas, brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, sannyasis, everybody. But of course, grahasthas, they can engage in sex life. That concession is there, but that is for the sake of procreation. We should always remember this. At least we should not be under illusion. We should at least know what is the standard. Okay. Okay, please read. What is what is underlined?
If we massage a person's leg, we do not really serve the legs, but the person who possesses the legs. All the demigods are different parts of the Lord, and if we offer service to them, we actually serve the Lord himself. Because the goddess Durga satisfies Krishna, we should therefore offer respects to goddess Durga. Because Lord Shiva is nothing but Krishna's functional body, we should therefore offer respects to the Lord Shiva. Similarly, we should offer respects to Brahma, Agni, and Surya. Bharat Maharaj did not aspire to receive some benediction from demigods.
Yeah, this is very important. It's not that he was doing something so that he can get something. Most of the time, people who worship demigods, they do something because they want to get something. But Bharat Maharaj, through the medium of demigods, he was simply worshipping Vishnu. He was simply worshipping Vishnu because he was seeing those demigods in connection with Vishnu, and he was seeing them as different part and parcels of Vishnu. So therefore, even though it looked as if he was worshipping the demigods, he is simply worshipping Vishnu. Okay.
In the Mahabharata, among the 1,000 names of Vishnu, it is said, Yagna Bhuya Yagya Kruda Yagnaha, the enjoyer of Yagya, the performer of Yagya, and Yagya itself are the Supreme Lord.
So this is also there in Bhagavad Gita also. Brahmarpanam Brahma Vir Brahmagno Brahmanahutam Brahma Ivatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. So the same concept is explained in in Bhagavad Gita also.
A devotee may have a priest perform some karma kand, and a priest may not be a pure Vaishnava, but because the devotee wants to please the Supreme Lord, he should not be criticized. The resultant actions of karma are called apurva.
Hmm. Okay, so that's the whole principle of worshipping a particular demigod, because sometimes devotees are always under some eternal confusion. There are some devotees think that we should we should kind of disrespect the demigods. There are some devotees don't know what to do with the demigods. There are some devotees who actually think that, oh, we should independently worship or independently respect the demigods. But this is the proper understanding what is given in this purport. The proper understanding is that through the agency of demigods, if there is when there is an opportunity, then and if we have to worship some demigod, then through the agency of demigod, Vishnu should be worshipped. That's it. This is what we should do. But it doesn't mean that we should go and worship demigods actively. This is not our business to actively worship demigods. It's not that we should go behind every demigod and we should keep worshipping them. Maharaj Bharat was doing it because it was part of his prescribed duty. If it is not part of our prescribed duty, we need not do it. There is no need for us to do it. But if we encounter, or if we are in a situation where we have to pay some respect to some demigod, we should not hesitate to pay respect to the demigod and worship him as part and parcel of Lord Vishnu. That's the most important thing. Okay. Please read.
A devotee is always fully surrendered to the loving service of the Lord, and the Lord is visible to the devotee according to the devotee's desires.
So this is also some subject matter which will be discussed. Okay. So now we have to continue with our translation till the last report. It was a different section. Now we'll continue with translations. Please read translations now. Please read translations.
In the Pula ashram is the Gandaki river, which is the best of all rivers. The Shalagram Shila, the marble pebbles, purify all those places. On each and every marble pebble, up and down, circles like navels are visible.
So there are different markings on the Shalagram Shila. Those who are very expert in worshipping Shalagram Shila, they know the different markings of Shankha, Chakra, and they also can identify various Shalagram Shilas in various ways. Okay, please read.
In the gardens of Pula ashram, Maharaj Bharat lived alone and collected a variety of flowers, twigs, and tulasi leaves. He also collected the water of the Gandaki river, as well as various roots, fruits, and bulbs. With these, he offered food to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudev, and worshipping him, he remained satisfied. In this way, his heart was completely uncontaminated, and he did not have the least desire for material enjoyment. All material desires vanished. In this steady position, he felt full satisfaction and was situated in the devotional service.
Very good. He is very nicely situated. Okay, next.
That most exalted devotee, Maharaj Bharat, in this way engaged constantly in the devotional service of the Lord. Naturally, his love for Vasudev, Krishna, increased more and more and melted his heart. Consequently, he gradually lost all attachment for regulative duties. The hairs of his body stood on end, and all the ecstatic bodily symptoms were manifest. Tears flowed from his eyes, so much so that he could not see anything. Thus, he constantly meditated on the reddish lotus feet of the Lord. At that time, his heart, which was like a lake, was filled with water of ecstatic love. When his mind was immersed in that lake, he even forgot the regulative service to the Lord.
Next.
Maharaj Bharat appeared very beautiful. He had a wealth of curly hair on his head, which was wet from bathing 3 times daily. He dressed in a deer skin. He worshipped Lord Narayan, whose body was composed of golden effulgence and who resided within the sun. Maharaj Bharat worshipped Lord Narayan by chanting the hymns given in the Rig Veda, and he recited the following verse as the sun rose.
Okay, please read.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated in pure goodness. He illuminates the entire universe and bestows all benedictions upon his devotee. The Lord has created this universe from his own spiritual potency. Although to his desire, the Lord entered this universe as a super soul, and by virtue of his different potencies, he is manifesting all living entities desiring material enjoyment. Let me offer my respectful obeisance unto the Lord, who is the giver of intelligence.
Yeah. So we worship the sun god. So that brings us to the end of this chapter. One of the things about this chapter, this section, is that we have small chapters. Okay, please read.
Everyone is searching after peace of mind. This is obtainable only when one is completely freed from the desire for material sense gratification and is engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. As long as one maintains material desires, he cannot be happy. As soon as one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, his mind is purified of all material desires. One may not be able to go to Pulaha Ashram, but wherever one is, one can happily render devotional service to the Lord by adopting the processes mentioned above.
Yeah, so we don't have to go to Pulaha Ashram, and we don't have to do all these things. If we simply engage in devotional service, then we can try to be happy. Okay, please read.
The predominating deity within the sun is Hiranmaya, Lord Narayan.
Yeah, so he is worshipped by the Gayatri Mantra. How about use the Gayatri Mantra? Okay, please
The
read.
predominating deity of the sun is another expansion of Narayan, who is illuminating the entire universe. In the Rig Veda, the predominating deity of the sun is worshipped by this mantra. Dheya sada savritir mandala madhyavarti narayana sarasi jasana sannivishtaha. Narayan sits on his lotus flower within the sun. By reciting this mantra, every living entity should take shelter of Narayan just as the sun rises.
So it's a good prayer to remember and chant when the sun rises. So this is a very brief chapter. It's a very brief description of activities of Maharaj Bharata, and the pastime is just warming up. We are getting into some of these activities. Okay, so any questions or comments on the chapter 1? Okay.
I have a comment, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji.
The Govardhan Shila, which recently is selected for the new Rama temple in Ayodhya.
Yeah.
They have selected from the same location which is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, actually. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very nice.
Thank you. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. Good. Good.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Prabhuji, in the discussion which we had earlier,
Yeah.
you mentioned that in Kali Yuga, actually we have to show how many people will believe. So,
Correct.
in case, like you are saying about farm community of preaching, then what can be the good way to make people believe by showing, like in terms of, because in Bhakti we believe in like performing, but also we have to do, means we have to show also, or present also. So how we can take care?
Yeah, so see, it's not only farm community or something like that. Everywhere we should preach. In fact, you are doing very nice job in the city, sitting in Pune, showing people how to be happy. In every setting, we need to show people how to be happy. Like, whether they are in city or whether they are in the village. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Grahe tako vane tako sada hari bole dako. Sukha dikha bhule nako badane hari naam bole re. So this is the principle that wherever we stay, we should show people that by actually taking up this chanting of the holy name, we can actually experience real happiness. And for that, simple living is sufficient. Whether we are living in city or whether we are living in village, in every place, according to the standard of that place, we can actually live simple. It's not that simple living is just one stereotype life. It's not like even in village we can live very complicated life. Even in city we can live very simple life. So it's not about again that's the whole theme which we are discussing. It's about consciousness which actually manifests the environment. It's not about the environment which is there, but in whatever environment we are, like Prabhu was in Bauri, and then he was able to bring Vrindavan consciousness there. He actually manifested Vrindavan environment in one of the worst places in the world. He was able to do that because he had that consciousness. So naturally, that consciousness brought Vrindavan environment in downtown New York, in San Francisco, in different places where Krishna consciousness was not even imagined. So that is what we should do. We should show people that if we dovetail our activities in Krishna consciousness, and if we do the activities in such a way that the activities are done in mode of goodness, then we can actually be happy whatever activity we are doing. Like I was teaching Bhakti Shastri to another batch. So one Mataji, she asked me one question, very interesting question she asked me. She said that whenever I hear all these lectures, these nice things about Bhakti Shastri, I feel very peaceful. But the moment I log in, I have so much tension. I have so much tension of my workplace. The tension of workplace simply takes over me. I become so tense and I feel that I'm in a constant rat race and I have to do things and I have to achieve. Constantly, I am being threatened by various things. So then I explained to her that no workplace is more hazardous than Arjuna's workplace. Arjuna's workplace is the most hazardous workplace. Maximum professional hazard was faced by Arjuna. Because if you're working in a software company, if you log on and if you do a mistake, nobody will cut your hand or nobody will cut your leg or nobody will take your life. But Arjuna's workplace is such that if you do a small mistake, then you have to lose your hand, you have to lose your leg, or you have to lose your life itself. Every mistake will cost, the cost of each mistake will be unimaginable either in terms of loss of body part or loss of life or loss of life of near and dear ones. So the most riskiest workplace who was having, Arjuna was having. So in that workplace, Krishna is saying that Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Amnusmarityacha Maya Arpita Mano Buddhir Mame Vaisya Samshayaha. In such a work environment, Krishna is talking about simply driven by love. That's a work environment which is so ghastly. In that work environment, Krishna is talking the language of love. So our work environments are not so ghastly. It's not like if you press a wrong button, then one hand will be cut off. It's not like that. Therefore, whatever work people are doing, they should be taught to come to mode of goodness and do that same work. We can meet targets in mode of goodness. We can flourish businesses in mode of goodness. It is possible. It's possible. It's not that it's not possible. People think mode of goodness means lazy. Lazy means mode of ignorance. It's not mode of goodness. Mode of goodness means that having a sharp sense of duty and working without attachment. This is mode of goodness. This is the most efficient way to work. So this should be taught to people. And the best way to teach is to actually show that. And to great extent, this is being done by temples like yourselves, where so many intelligent brahmacharis are there. They're taking up big projects. and they're doing so many things so nicely. And it's not like they're all driven by passion and ignorance. No, they're driven by goodness, and hopefully they are driven by love for their spiritual master, and they're doing so many great things. So same way, the grahasthas who are living their life, going to job, trying to earn money, and then doing some things, they should also be encouraged to work in mode of goodness and be renounced, Dautal Krishna consciousness and everything. So this will be the working model. It's possible to make that working model. It's not very difficult. It's possible. Then people will be inspired. People will say, oh, these Hare Krishna guys, they are like us, but they are happy. The only difference between us and them is that they are also doing what we are doing, but these guys are happy. So that means they have something different than us. So what is that? That is our process. So then we can explain the process to people. That's how it will work.
Thank you.
Okay.
Prabhuji, one more
Now,
question.
yeah, yes, okay, go on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, this in text a translation, there it is said, this time for Bharat Maharaj, enjoyment of material opulence at 1,000 times, 10,000 years. So
Yeah.
can you comment on this? I mean, how do we understand this?
It is 1,000 times, 10,000 years. What can I comment on it? He had a long life. I don't know what you expect me to comment on it. That whether it is possible to live such a long life, I think it is possible, because that's why it is given in Bhagavatam like that.
No, basically, Prabhuji, he was in another yuga, and the duration of the human life increases by 1 0 in every yuga. For example, in
Yeah.
Kali Yuga, it is 100 years. In
Yeah.
Dwapar Yuga, it is 1,000. In Treta Yuga,
Yeah.
it is 10,000. And in Satya Yuga, it is 1 lakh. So
Yeah.
this is a different yuga where the life is long. So that's why it is mentioned like that. Yeah. It might be Satya Yuga, I think, in this. I don't know. I have to confirm.
Prabhuji, which yuga it is actually this Bharat Maharaj pastime taking place?
See, there are two hints. One hint is Bharat Maharaj engaging in so many elaborate sacrifices for demigods. These sacrifices for demigods became current in Treta Yuga. It was not there before that. In Satya Yuga, there was not so much sacrifice for demigods was there. So it could be beginning of Treta Yuga, could be end of Satya Yuga, something like that. But even though he had some fantastic lifespan, is 1,000 times 10,000 years, right? That's what is given, right?
Yes,
But that's not his lifespan. That's only his enjoyment time. After that, his lifespan is separate. He lived a lifespan separately also.
Prabhuji, that means his here it's mentioned that 1,000 times 10,000 years means it becomes 1 crore years.
Yeah, it becomes 1 crore years. So he seems to have, see, like in Kali Yuga also, there are people who live exceptionally long life. In Kali Yuga, even though it's supposed to be 100 years, everybody is dying at 60, 70, 75. If someone is 76, 77, 80, people are looking at them with some kind of idea that, hey, you're still sticking around. What happened to you? You're not gone, like that. So it's like that. So but some people manage to live till 100, 120, 130, like that. So, and also there are some yogis in Himalayas who live very long time, who live for 300, 400 years, something like that. So there are always exceptions to this rule of what is the lifespan. So it looks more or less to me that Bharat Maharaj was an exception, because nowhere there is 1 crore years of life. So it looks like that he did something special. So he had some exceptionally long life.
And Prabhuji, I want to add to this lifespan also that Prabhupada also says that regularity is the key to expand the lifespan. And because of the people are dying in Kali Yuga not because of lack of food, but because of irregular habits. So if we follow the regular habits and keep the sadhana strong, definitely even the lifespan in Kali Yuga also can be extended to more than 100 years also, actually.
Yeah, correct. It's possible. Prabhupada says very clearly that what is the cause of decrease of lifespan in Kali Yuga? Prabhupada gives 3 reasons. One is that miserly masters, serving miserly masters, then accepting self-created duties, and third one is unregulated life. Three reasons Prabhupada gives. One is serving masters who are never satisfied. They always want to suck the blood out of you. They are never satisfied. And that is not only the master in the workplace. Even in house also. In Kali Yuga, the husband is not satisfied with the wife is not satisfied with the husband, and the children are not satisfied with the parents are not satisfied with the children. So everyone is a kind of master, and they are all unsatisfied masters in Kali Yuga. So there is no satisfaction in Kali Yuga. So they are all miserly. All these masters are miserly in Kali Yuga. So serving miserly masters, even the child gets 100 mark out of 100 mark, still the parent is not satisfied. They say that, oh, you got 100 out of 100, but someone is getting 100 out of 100 and then doing karate, kung fu, dance, and that, and this, and that, and that. So you are not doing all that. You are just only getting 100 out of 100. They tell the children. So it's all crazy time. So 3 reasons Prabhupada gives: serving miserly masters, unregulated lifestyle, and accepting self-created duties. Three reasons for lifespan. So if you avoid these 3, then definitely we can live for a long time in Kali Yuga.
Thank you, Prabhuji. This was something new for me also, these 3 points. So thank you.
Is there in the purport the same? What is that? Prayana alpaisha sabda kalavas.
Prayana alpaisha manda ismin yuge jana manda samanda.
That purport. All the 3 reasons are there in that purport.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Yes, Krishna Rupamati.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Even I think in Bhishma Dev's actually chapter that is there also he's saying that disturbances from various diseases can be avoided by regulated diets.
Correct.
And if somebody wants to be self-controlled, he'll be free from all these false hopes and all these.
Correct.
So I think even Bhishma Dev's chapter also speaks about
Yes.
this.
Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, Iktahara Viharasya Yukta Chetasya Karmasya Yukta Swapna Bodhasya Yogo Bhavati Dukhaha. So regulated lifestyle is very important. This lifestyle in mode of goodness. Basically, regulated lifestyle means lifestyle in mode of goodness, that you do things the right time, you follow a proper schedule. Like Prabhupada was very regulated, that he could follow the same lifestyle across the time zones. Like, his disciples are much younger in 20s, especially in early 20s, middle 20s. They used to have jet lag, but Prabhupada actually maintained the same lifestyle across time zones because he was actually living in mode of goodness and he was able to do that. He had that Shakti. So living in mode of goodness gives a lot of Shakti. It is like that. Mode of goodness is very, very powerful too. Is sometimes so much ignored, even within ISKCON also. It's so much ignored. Life in mode of goodness is not, the value of it is not fully understood. Okay, we should take a break because we should do Gayatri. So we should take a Gayatri break. 10 minutes, we'll have Gayatri break and then we'll reassemble. 12:20 we'll reassemble. 12:21 we'll reassemble. Okay, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, welcome back. Any more questions, comments on the previous chapter?
So, Prabhuji, my name is Vishwambar Mahaprabhu Das. I'm not part of this program, so I'm leaving. I just requested my sister to give me this link to check how is the classes are conducted. I'm going to contact to Vanshodhan Prabhu for the next batch. So, thank you all very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for giving our wonderful association to us for a short time. Okay. So, any questions or comments? Anything which is still undigested?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Vaibhav.
Prabhuji, just wanted to know this on the sun planet, the DT, the Lord Narayan is residing there. That is mentioned. So just wanted to know a little more that how it's happening. There is a Vivaswan there.
Yeah.
And he like engaged in worshipping Lord Narayan or something.
Yes, his version is there. And in the Rudra Gita, it is mentioned that Aniruddha is there in the sun planet.
Okay.
It is mentioned there. But sometimes I have heard that he is Surya Narayana. Because in Kumbakonam, in my hometown, we have a temple of Surya Narayana. He is supposed to be the deity of sun god. He is sun god's deity.
Okay. So is Lord Narayan there in the deity form and he's being worshipped there like that?
At least in my hometown, he is deity form. But in the sun globe, he may be worshipped directly. He may be worshipped directly. Like in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Upendra comes directly to accept worship from Indra. So same way, the Lord will be accepting the worship directly. This is what I think. From whatever I have read, this is what it looks like.
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other question, comment? Okay, good. Everyone seems to be satisfied. Let us move to the next chapter, where things are heating up. Okay, let's read. Translation.
Sri Sukadeva Goswami continued, My dear king, one day after finishing his morning duties, evacuating, urinating and bathing, Maharaj Bharat sat down on the bank of the river Gandaki and for a few minutes and began chanting his mantra, beginning with Omkar.
Okay, it was a normal day. Everything
Okay.
was.
While Bharat Maharaj was sitting on the bank of that river, a dove, being very thirsty, came there to drink.
Means it's a she deer.
While the dove was drinking with great satisfaction, a lion which was very close roared very loudly. This was frightful to every living entity, and it was heard by the dove.
Yeah.
By nature, the dove was always afraid of being killed by others, and it was always looking about suspiciously. When it heard the lion's tumultuous roar, it became very agitated. Looking here and there with disturbed eyes, the dove, although it had not fully satisfied itself by drinking water, suddenly leaped across the river.
So the most riskiest thing for animals to do in the forest is to actually drink water. So the animals are greatly afraid in the forest while they're drinking water. Even if it is even lion or tiger, even they're afraid at the time of drinking water because they don't know what is inside the water and what will come and catch them. Sometimes crocodiles are inside the water, they can come and catch the lion and tiger also. The water is infested with crocodile or some big snake, or they can come and catch the lion and tiger also. So therefore, it's very, very risky affair to drink water in the forest, especially for the animals. Animals are by nature afraid. By nature, they are afraid. But when they come to drink water, that's the most vulnerable time because they have to concentrate on the task of drinking water. And at the same time, there is danger from all over. And the very task of drinking water, it cannot keep, like the animals, they always hold their head high in order to survey all directions, so that to see which direction danger is coming. But when they're drinking water, the head is held so low, and then they are facing the water, they're thirsty, they want it. So the process of drinking water also, it gives them some satisfaction. So it's a very, very dangerous situation. And normally, in this situation, when the dove, when it heard this tumultuous roar of a lion, naturally the dove was very disturbed and it jumped. Okay.
The dove was pregnant, and when it jumped out of fear, The baby deer fell from its womb into the flowing waters of the river.
Hmm. Okay.
Being separated from its flock and distressed by its miscarriage, the black doe, having crossed the river, was very much distressed. Indeed, it fell down in a cave and died immediately.
Hmm.
The great king Bharata, while sitting on the bank of the river, saw the small deer, bereft of its mother, floating down the river. Seeing this, he felt great compassion. Like a sincere friend, he lifted the infant deer from the waves and, knowing it to be motherless, brought it to his ashram.
Okay. So I have a question. What Bharat Maharaj did, is it correct or is it wrong? Vrindavan Priya Mataji.
Material point of view, it is correct, but spiritual point of view, it is wrong.
It's a very complicated answer. Can you please give purport to this answer?
Like compassion means the material point of view, like the helpless animal, deer was a helpless animal. So to help the helpless animal is like material point of view, it is good. But spiritual point of view means whenever we are doing compassion, we should think means to which limit the compassion should be there, because it should not affect our spirituality, or it should not affect our, it should not means we should not get attached to that.
So I asked a simple question. I asked, Bharat Maharaj saved the deer. Saving the deer is right or wrong? That was my question.
Right.
The same answer. Material point of view, it is right, but spiritual point of view, it is wrong.
Yeah, but the reasoning you gave for spiritual point of view, you said that it will, right now it is not affecting his Krishna consciousness. Right now he's not attached to the deer. He saw the deer. The impulsive action was to save the deer. So whatever you are saying is going to happen in future. Somehow you have some eyes to see the future. You are Trikalagya. You are able to see the future. But I am not Trikalagya. I am only seeing what is happening now. I don't know what is going to happen in the next sloka. So I am asking a question which is based on this sloka. That he saved the deer. Is it correct or wrong?
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, actually saving the deer is correct only, because naturally compassion is a divine quality. So in this particular situation, it was in one sense it is our duty. It was his duty to save the deer. So it's a right only. But what goes ahead in future, that will.
No, let's not go to future. Let's live in present.
But as of now, presently, to save the deer was good only.
Okay. So anybody else has any other? Now two opposite answers we have got. Vrindavan Priya Mataji is saying that he is materially correct but spiritually wrong. So Prabhuji is saying no, this is correct. So anyone else has something to say? Satyapriya Prabhu, what do you think? Right or wrong?
Correct. Actually, considering the Prabhu's like Bharat Maharaja's presence in jungle, this is very natural that no animals are living here and there, and it's going to be like no, there will be lions and there will be like no, naturally there will be killings and somebody will be getting killed. So that is the law of a forest. So, but then as a Bharat Maharaj is seeing, the thing is happening in front of him, that no, there is helplessness which is coming to his eyes. But then ultimately, yes. But then the next thing is Bharat Maharaj, of course, then again we have to go to his next situation.
No, let's not go back. No.
Yeah.
Let's discuss this point. This has to be seen, because this Leela, it has to be understood in parts and it's also understood in whole. So right now we are trying to understand in parts. We are not trying to understand it in whole. So there is two analysis. One is part analysis and there is whole analysis. So right now we are trying to analyze this in part. Let's not jump the gun.
Yes. So considering this project, he has done a right thing because that's the duty of, as he is a Kshatriya, he is a king, that is also his praja.
You brought a very important consideration. Okay.
Yeah.
So
naturally he has to show compassion.
But I will give a counterpoint to this. He was a king. He already left his kingdom. He now is Vanaprastha. He is not technically a king. So how come this is praja?
No, even if he is now not a king, but as a spiritualist, as a spiritual seeker, that is his duty to show compassion to other spirit soul, so that he is materially relieved and his further course of action can be taken place.
Okay, good. Okay. So now we seem to have some majority. So we are a democracy country.
I also have something to say.
We try to. Okay, let's see what Krishna Rupa Mataji says. She balances out, or she is going to join the majority. What she does, I don't know. Okay.
So just as the Lord is a true friend, he is a Surid of all the living entities. So even the devotees are also Surid and a true friend. And that is why he bought that little fawn to his ashram. So now, because this fawn was very helpless, and Bharat Maharaj showed a compassion towards this particular deer, which is the duty of every human being to render help to a helpless creature. So even somebody on the road is troubling somebody, then we actually help that particular person. So this is that yes, as devotees we have to be compassionate toward, but not get overly attached to the particular animal or person.
Okay, so you're saying not to get attached, not to get overly attached. So you give double qualification to that. Okay, let's see if somebody else has something to say about this. What about all the great intelligent brahmacharis who are sitting there in the classroom? You have something to say about this? Haribol, Prabhuji, someone has something to say about this?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji.
Yes.
I remember when Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur once, he saw that some children were in search of food. They were seeing in the dustbin. So he, with great compassion, he asked them that within the 10 kilometers radius, everyone should be given that prasadam distribution should go on. No one should remain hungry. So even on the bodily platform, saving the is not a sign of means like it's. So here in this situation, we see that although Bharat Maharaj was doing that tapasya, so naturally also it's saving the small deer in a helpless condition is right only because from compassion, because that's the natural sign of compassion. And also if we see relate from this aspect of Prabhupada's pastime, when Prabhupada asked that everyone within the 10-kilometer radius, no one should remain hungry. That means they should be given prasadam. So I was just relating with this pastime also.
Okay. Okay. Any other views on whether it is right or wrong?
We should be compassionate by raising one from the material platform to the spiritual platform. Otherwise, at any moment, our spiritual advancement may be spoiled.
Okay. So, can you give a straightforward answer? What Bharat Maharaj did was correct or wrong? It's a very complicated answer you gave. And I have chicken brain. I can't understand these things.
Yes, it is correct.
It's correct. Okay. See, by your answer, I understood that it was wrong. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Anybody else? Yes, Ragaleka Mataji, you'd like to say something about this?
Yes, Prabhuji, on the level of compassion, it is right because that's a quality. So it is right on that.
On what level it is wrong?
wrong if we see it in the future, like as you said, we should not go in the future, right now saving the animal was right, but if you see in the future, like then he was overly attached, so that in that sense spiritually then it is wrong, because he left his sadhana and he got attached to the dog.
Okay. So we'll ask Antarji Prabhu. Antarji Prabhu, what do you think? That saving the deer was correct or wrong?
Saving the deer was correct. If you could have left it with the other deer, that would have been better.
Okay. Okay. डियर को सेव करके डियर आश्रम में छोड़ना था, ब्रह्मचर्य आश्रम में नहीं लेके आना था. Okay, good. Anyway, it's a very contentious point. Whether it is correct or not is a very contentious point. However, the point is that what future has for it is something which is which makes it very, very clear that whether saving the deer was, bringing the deer home was definitely wrong. Saving the deer is natural because he's a Kshatriya. He has this natural, Kshatrayate iti Kshatriyaha. So he has that natural tendency by which he can actually save the deer. But he should have just left it to its fate, because that's what ultimately it is. Everybody has to face their fate. So Prabhupada gives the consideration of, so there is this discussion about saving a dying man. There's a conversation about saving a dying man, saving a drowning man. In that conversation, Prabhupada actually gives this consideration of public opinion, that we should also consider what will be a public opinion. What will be the public opinion? So he says that if you're competent and if you're able to save that person, we should just try to save that person, because that's a normal thing which anybody would do. So then after that, we don't get involved in his life. And then suppose if he says that, oh, I jumped into the water because I had 10 crores loan and I didn't want to, I had no means of repaying the loan. So I have jumped into the water. Now you are my savior. God sent you to save me. So since you have saved me, please also give me 10 crores. So we cannot leave our life and then start making 10 crores for him. That's not possible for us. But saving that person per se, maybe our duty that we have to do it, because that's what is expected out of any decent man. But in case of Bharat Maharaj, also, there's other consideration that there was no public to give opinion. He was alone. He was just alone in the forest. So it was between him and that fawn, because the mother doe had already died, and it was just between him and the fawn. So his action was more like a reflex action of seeing someone in trouble and then going to help someone. So in this connection, Krishna speaks on very important shloka in Bhagavad Gita. That shloka is the last shloka of the 5th chapter. Krishna says, Bhaktaram ekatapasam sarvalokam heshwaram sugridam sarvabhutanam nyatva mam shantim rachati. This is a very important shloka. Of course, Prabhupada calls it the peace formula, very famous shloka. But in this shloka, Krishna is talking about 3 distinct mentalities which is being displayed by the conditioned soul. So the first mentality which is being displayed by the conditioned soul is the enjoying mentality. The second mentality which is being displayed by the conditioned soul is is controlling mentality. The third mentality which is being exhibited by the conditioned soul is the protecting mentality. So these 3 mentalities are being exhibited by the conditioned soul. Out of this enjoying mentality is the most obvious thing. And in one sense, it is also easy to give up, because we can actually see that there is no enjoyment in this material world. An intelligent person, simply by observation, will be able to see this, that there's no enjoyment in this material world. He doesn't have to, too much break his head. Just by observation, by intelligent observation, he will be able to see this. Ehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yonevate adyantavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Krishna says, this is just observatory truth. This is not like some big philosophical point. It's not like some mind-breaking philosophical point about how Krishna has expanded into Radharani and how Krishna and Radharani are same and they're different. It's not like some mind-bending philosophical point. It's just simple, plain observational truth. That there is a beginning and end to material enjoyment. Therefore, that's the source of misery. It's just an intelligent observational truth. It doesn't require some big spiritualist to understand this. Any intelligent person can understand this. Any intelligent person can understand this. That's why every intelligent person is trying to find a remedy to misery. Even scientists are trying to find remedy to misery. Everybody is trying to find remedy to misery. Everybody is trying to find the method for unending happiness. Everyone is trying to find this because any intelligent person observes this temporary nature of this happiness and happiness in this material world is actually killing us. So there's really no enjoyment as long as happiness is temporary. Even karmis understand, vikarmis understand. Any intelligent fellow understands this. Any intelligent fellow understands this. So therefore, simply by some intelligent observation, one can actually give up enjoying mentality. It's not very difficult to do that. It's not very difficult to do that. Even though it looks very difficult, but actually it is not difficult to do that. One can understand. Kuch nahi hai. Kuch nahi hai. There's nothing left here to enjoy. One can very easily understand this point. But more difficult to give up is controlling mentality, because that nature is inherent in the conditioned soul. That he wants to control things. He wants to have things his way. In English, there's an expression, my way or highway. There's an expression like this, my way or highway. Means that you come to my way. So everyone is somehow or other trying to control the other person who is a stakeholder in his life. Because that person's action affects him. So therefore, he is trying to control that person. Like, for example, the husband is trying to control the wife is trying to control the husband, the temple president is trying to control the different devotees are trying to control the temple president. So many things are happening. Everyone is trying to control each other. In this material world, everybody is trying to control the other person. Because it is natural. It is natural. But a proper Krishna conscious person, he will be able to see a person who has some knowledge of the body and the soul, of Prakriti and Purusha. This requires not casual observation. It requires a little bit more than casual observation. It requires observation through Shastra. A person who actually observes through Shastra, he will be able to see that control is not possible. Utkramantam sthitam vapi bhunjanam va gunanvidam vimudha nanu pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. This is you require jnana chakshu to understand that I cannot be a controller. We need that to understand that we are being controlled. We are not controllers. To understand that we need some observation through Shastra. It's just not possible by casual observation. In casual observation, we'll always try to control, because there are situations where we control, there are situations where it goes out of control. It looks like more or less like a hit and miss. And we can always try to explain logically, we'll try to explain why a certain situation is not able to be controlled. And if we eliminate that by logic, it looks as if we can control a situation. So one requires to see through the eyes of Shastra Pashyanti Jnana Chakshushaha. The ultimate event is birth and death. Everyone is trying to control those two events. That's the ultimate event. So in order to understand that is being controlled by three modes, which is something which is outside you. Uttamantam Sitam Vapi, Bunjanam Va Gunanvidam. For that, you require Jnana Chakshushu. But even if you have that sense of seeing through Shastra, giving a protecting mentality is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. This is the most difficult thing to give up. Sugradam Sarvabhutanam. To accept that Krishna's justice is not only infallible, but to also accept that Krishna loves everybody is extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. This is an extremely difficult proposition. I love the fawn more than Krishna loves the fawn. Krishna abandoned the fawn, but I saved it. It's an extremely difficult proposition to give up the protecting mentality, because we are told that we should act as natural protectors. We should act as natural protectors. As different authorities, we are meant to give protection. Like women are meant to be protected by men. Of course, modern women don't like to be told these things. Even modern men don't like to be told these things. Modern men want to be unscrupulous. Modern women want to be less intelligent. So both of them don't want to be told this fact that a woman should be protected by men. That's a different story. But according to Shastra, women are supposed to be protected by men. Women, children, disabled, old people, Brahmana, and cows, they're supposed to be protected by the king. A father is supposed to protect the family members. So like that, there are assigned duties of protection. The assigned duties of protection, and those duties of protection are in mode of goodness. So therefore, it's extremely difficult to give up that mentality of protecting. It's the most difficult mentality to give up. We can give up enjoying mentality easily. By some proper observation, we can give up controlling mentality. But to give up protecting mentality is kind of extremely difficult, because we need to find the balance between our duty and the acceptance that I am not the protector. And that balance is a very delicate balance. It's a very delicate balance. To accept that Krishna is the protector, Rakshasiti Vishwasho, Goptrutve Varanam. These are very difficult things. These are very difficult items of surrender. They're not easy items of surrender. That in all circumstances, in every way, Krishna is actually protecting. He's actually protecting. This is not an easy thing to understand. Of course, Bharat Maharaj understands it the hard way. We should understand it the easy way by studying Bharat Maharaj's pastime. So one should act out of duty without the sense of being protected. That is the key. That is the key. One should simply act out of the sense of duty without the sense of being the protector. This is the key. This is the key. And this is what was actually missing in this pastime. Bharat Maharaj, he acted out of the sense of being the protector of the fawn. But he is not. Krishna is the protector. Krishna has ordained a certain event to happen in a certain way. So therefore, there is some justice in that event. And that justice is not heartless justice. The justice is loving justice. It's not just heartless justice, or it's not just neutral justice. Okay, I condemn you to death, and that's it. Krishna is not like that. Even though Krishna himself claims to be like that. Krishna claims that I am neutral. I am situated in the heart as if I am neutral. Now, this is an oxymoron. Why it's an oxymoron? Why it's an oxymoron? You know why it's an oxymoron? You know why it's an oxymoron? You know what is an oxymoron, right? Saying two things which are opposite to each other, next to each other. This is called oxymoron. So Krishna says, I am situated in everybody's heart as if I am neutral. So why these are two opposite things? Why these are two opposite things?
Because Krishna is he is in the heart and he's observing everything, and he's the Suhirda Sarvabhutanam still, but still he's saying that I am neutral to everything. So it's
So
like,
how it is opposite? You still didn't explain how it is opposite.
yeah, it's supposed, because being so closest, how can a person be neutral?
Yeah, but he is neutral. That you can't deny. Neutrality cannot be denied.
Yeah.
Neutral, that is, he says Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram. That is his Yogam Aishwaram, that he is so close and he is neutral. So neutrality is not denied. But what is that it makes it, because we cannot say Krishna is not neutral. Even Vedanta Sutra says that he is neutral. So there's no question of not saying that Krishna is not neutral. But what makes it opposite? Antadeep.
He is taking the pain to be with each of the souls side by side.
Yeah.
And then he's saying he's neutral. So it seems like he has a concern for the jiva. That's why he's there with them all the time.
Yeah, this is exactly the point. The point is that Krishna is a lover who never leaves. That's the point. That's the point. That every lover will leave. This is the nature of this material world. That mother is a lover, she will leave. Or the child will leave. Either mother will leave or the child will leave. Father is a lover, either he will leave or the son will run away from the father. Husband is a lover, that fellow will also leave. Wife is a lover, she will also leave. Children are lovers, they will also leave. Friends are lovers, they will also leave. In this material world, every lover will leave us. Every lover will promise so many things. When a man sees a woman, he tells her, can I bend the sky for you and bring it in front of you? Can I offer the moon in your palm? Can I pluck the stars and decorate your hair? He says so many different things. But the guy runs away. The guy runs away. So, in this material world, it is seen that every lover leaves. Every lover leaves. This is the nature of this material world. Every lover leaves. But there is one lover who never leaves. That's Krishna. That's Krishna. So therefore, when Krishna says, I am neutral, I am not involved in you, is a kind of, and he is neutral. It's not that he is not neutral. He is neutral as Paramatma. There's no dispute about it. But the very presence of Krishna is simply his love. Is simply his love. That's why in Upanishad it is said that asya mahimanam iti vita shokaha. That when the eating bird, when he actually turns his face and looks at the observing bird and understands his greatness, asya mahimanam, his greatness. What is his greatness? His greatness is that he is a lover who never leaves. That's his greatness. That is his greatness. So when he actually understands that greatness, asya mahimanam, he is mahima, that Krishna is such an unique lover. He is a lover who never leaves. Then iti vita shokaha, that simply all his lamentation is finished. All his lamentation is finished. That's it. That's it. So the point which we are trying to understand, or the point which we are trying to make here, is that one should try to understand this point that Krishna is the well-wisher. And Krishna is the well-wisher of the Jiva. So therefore, in every justice Krishna dispenses, there's not only neutrality, but there's also love. There's also love. A person who is a jnani, he simply sees the neutrality. Therefore, he dismisses everything as illusion. But a person who is a devotee, he actually sees that love. Therefore, he is able to relish Krishna's activities. Therefore, he is able to relish everything Krishna does. So that's the key. The key is to simply act out of duty, but with a clear understanding that Krishna is the protector. And Krishna is the protector. But I have a duty to perform. I should perform the duty. Every authority has a duty to perform, and that authority has to perform the duty. But with the clear understanding that Krishna is the protector, I am not the protector. When we get involved with the idea that I am the protector, which may be in mode of goodness, like what Bharat Maharaj has done, then very quickly we will slide into mode of passion and mode of ignorance, which is what we are going to see now. That how quickly he actually slides into mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So therefore, we cannot fault the action per se, in one sense, that even though there was nobody to observe his action, even then, out of compassion, he might have acted in a certain way, but we cannot find fault with the action per se. But definitely, it was not his business to actually bring the fawn to his ashram. So the point is that when we act with this misunderstanding that I am the protector or I am the well-wisher, sometimes we see that devotees who preach, they get so attached to those whom they preach, and then they start thinking that, oh, this is my group, I have preached to them, I should give service to them, I should take care of them, and they should be with me, and I am the one who should do everything for them. Devotees get too attached to this. This is all this combination of controlling mentality and protecting mentality comes, and then when such things come up, then the consequences are not very pleasant. The consequences of such mentality is not very pleasant. Sometimes it may lead to unnecessary groupism. It may lead to different misunderstandings amongst different devotees. They are not very pleasant consequences. We have a duty to preach. We have to act as an instrument of the acharyas, the spiritual master, to preach. But ultimately, the jiva belongs to Krishna. Jiva doesn't belong to me. The jiva belongs to Krishna. So we should have that broad vision. That's called samachitta. That's called samachitta. Mahantaste samachitta prashanta vimanyava sugrada sadhavo. Yeah. He being sugrada is secondary to Krishna being sugrada. Because he understands the primary well-wisher is Krishna. And he acts according to Krishna's plan. He doesn't become an independent well-wisher of the living entity. He simply acts on behalf of Krishna. So therefore, he is a well-wisher. Therefore, he is a well-wisher. Okay, let's read translation. Let's continue. Who is reading?
Gradually, Maharaj Bharat became.
Question was there.
Yeah, question. Okay, question.
Two questions. One is then, as you mentioned, one thinks Krishna is a well-wisher. One understands that, but
Yeah.
still, like there are like babies given the care of the parents, and as you mentioned, the protecting his need is also there.
Correct.
And everybody is responsible. Somebody is responsible for somebody.
Correct.
That
Correct.
way, Krishna's probably done this arrangement that baby is tender, so parents do the protection part.
Correct.
Right. So when even in preaching, because when new people come, somebody has to take that responsibility of gradually guiding and protecting the devotional service of the people under.
Correct.
So where do that line is there that this is protection and this is not protection, or
the point is we should
is not acting like a well-wisher?
No. The point is we should act as a well-wisher, but we should not act as an independent well-wisher. That's what I was trying to make. That they are natural protectors out of duty. Like a parent is a natural protector of the child out of duty. A preacher is a natural protector of an innocent person out of duty. So one should be bound by one's sense of duty, not the sense of being an independent protector of such person. Does that make sense?
So how practically it will be manifested?
So there could be many practical manifestations of this. Like for example, like Krishna says, "Padam padam yat vipadam." So this world is full of danger. So even though a parent tries his best to protect a child, the child may sometimes get into danger. So in this time, the parent has to understand that the child getting into danger is actually Krishna's plan, and then try to actually do whatever needs to be done. Sometimes we see that the parents, when the child gets into danger, the parents go on a huge guilt trip. And then they get into so many problems, just mental problem, that, this, and so many things. Like suppose, what if a child dies? Okay, there's a young child, and then there's some accident and the child dies. It happened in some devotees' life. I know such devotees where this happened in their life. Now there are two options in the front of the parent. That eternally the parent can get into some sort of mental agony, and then ruin their whole life is possible. I have seen people doing that also. But it is also possible for them to accept it as Krishna's plan and then do something tangible for that child. Because if they become Krishna conscious, if they actually practice devotional service properly, that soul is also going to get benefited. It's not that the soul is not going to get benefited. The soul is also going to get benefited. So something tangible can be done. Something tangible can be done. Why not child? Sometimes young man dies. I met one parent. I knew the boy. when from the time he was a small boy. He used to come to my classes. He was in Middle East. Then they shifted to West, and they were living in West. And the boy was more or less sometimes or other he was in touch with me. And suddenly he left his body. And the parents are completely disoriented. They actually came to Mayapur to put his ashes in Ganga, but they're completely disoriented. Completely disoriented. And I spoke to them some words to pacify them and tell them something, and mostly I heard what they had to say. Then I spoke some words of compassion to them. But when the next year they came, they were a little bit more, settled with the fact. And then we could have a good discussion about, then they actually wanted to know why this happened, why did he die so young, what Krishna was doing. So they had, and that time they had questions. The second time when they came for his Varshabdi to Mayapur. That time they had questions. They had so many questions. And then we could actually have some sort of discussion. And in the end, they were kind of pacified and then okay with it. So the point is that that the protecting mentality can take one into ignorance. That's what happened with Bharat Maharaj. And that's what happens with Yudhishthira also. When Yudhishthira in the first canto, when he does not see all the elders, he starts lamenting like anything. And then Narada comes and gives him good chastisement. He gives him some very nice chastisement. He says, Kalakarma gunadino dehoyam panchabhautikaha katam anyamstu gopayat sarvagrasta taparam. What is this? You follow? You yourself are standing in the mouth of a snake and you are telling that I am saving these people, I am saving that people, I am maintaining these people, I am maintaining. What katam anyamstu gopayat? What kind of maintenance you are able to offer? Sarpagrasta. You yourself are Sarpagrasta. What kind of maintenance you are able to offer to others? He's asking, very pertinent question he's asking. That's the practical difference, that we should remain Krishna conscious. Irrespective of you try to do your duty to the best of your ability. And if something happens, we should accept it as Krishna's plan and we should remain Krishna conscious. That's the practical application of it. I have seen both ends of it. I have seen people doing that. I have seen people not doing that. I have seen both ends of it. And I have seen the consequence of both of it. People doing that and people not doing that.
So what Bharat Maharaj should have done here?
What Bharat Maharaj should have done? What he should have done? That's a good question. So, in my understanding, saving the deer was not wrong. He could have saved the deer, but he should have just left it, because deer is a wild animal, and it has its own way of living. It has its own keen sense of saving itself. They are born with some regular instinct. They're born with their own instinct. They have certain natural abilities from day one. They are born. They are able to eat grass. They are able to digest it, even though they still drink milk from the mother. But they're able to walk. They're able to run. They're able to defend themselves. So they have their natural abilities, which is given by Krishna in each body of an animal. The animal has its natural ability, which is given by Krishna. This is one part. The other part is that asastani sahastanam apadani chaduspadam falguni tatra mahatam jivo jivasya jivanam. This is the rule of material world, that one living form should become the means of subsistence of the other living form. You cannot avoid this in this material world. Jivo jivasya jivanam. So, considering this, having saved that fawn, he should have just left it to its fate. He should not have brought it to his ashram. He should not have brought it to his ashram. Saving, you could have saved it out of sense of duty. That's okay. That's acceptable. But bringing to the ashram was not acceptable. It was not acceptable. That is not.
We have this Maharaj Shibi story where a bird takes shelter of him and then he gives that shelter and then he offers his own flesh.
Correct. Correct.
So when such protection is sought, even we hear Arjuna asking, being asked actually. And
But
first-
in the case of Maharaj Sibi, the bird came and took shelter of him.
Yes.
But in the case of this fawn, the
Yeah,
fawn
he
did not
himself-
come and take shelter of Bharat Maharaj. It was just facing its fate.
Yes.
And he intervened. By his own violation, he intervened. Is it not?
Yes, Prabhuji. Okay. Prabhuji.
So it's not that we should not intervene. We can intervene, but we should see time, place, and circumstance. And we should intervene with a sense of duty. Whenever we intervene like this, we should intervene with a keen sense of duty. That's it. And we should have the clear understanding that Krishna's system of justice is infallible. Sometimes, sometimes even Karmi philosophers have this understanding. They don't know Krishna and all, but even Karmi philosophers have this understanding. Like there's a famous short story from Tolstoy, which actually deals with an angel which was tasked with bringing the soul of a woman. And then that angel, he sees that this woman had just given birth to twins. So he doesn't take that soul of the woman, and then he goes back. And then he is punished by God, and he is thrown naked into the streets of Russia, in Moscow. Then he is picked up by a shoemaker. Then he becomes the shoemaker's assistant, and then the story goes on like that. And finally, in the end of the story, the angel actually, he sees those two twins. They come to the shoemaker to make shoes. And then he understands that God's justice is infallible. Then he grows his wings and then he goes back. Something like that. It's a long time back when I was a teenager, I read this story. But somehow that story stayed with me. That time it was thought-provoking for me. Yes, Antadeepu.
Many questions of Dharma Sankat kind of questions are asked in relation to such protection service. For example, say some man meets with an accident and it's like it can cause a police case. So now devotee is just passing by. Should he go and help him out? If he helps him out, he may be involved in police case. Okay, better carry on your spiritual duties, be preacher. Versus there is a person dying, you should go and help. So people now you had told one point about public opinion also in the early part of the discussion.
Right.
So here the public opinion also comes in, and also one's own practical understanding of what is to be a dutiful servant of Krishna. Like the protector part internally may be clear that Krishna is only the protector. Finally, Krishna has to save him. But what is my duty? That is important to know for that devotee also, because he should not become heartless on the name of detachment, and he should not become caught up in a thing that is not his duty. So this is another which is more difficult one. Like a brahmachari is going and a girl is getting troubled by men. Now he has to save the woman. So if he saves the woman, he may be caught up with the woman also. So there is a delicate situation. Brahmachari should not get into the woman business. But he's seeing at the front some improper act getting done. So all these kind of difficult protector-based questions are asked. So is there any clear-cut way to give understanding to oneself at that? Because it's just spur of the moment, you have to take decision. You can't just, it's not even, you don't have lifelines to call people many
Right.
times.
I understand. So in general, if you're able to do something, we should do something. This is the general idea, that if you're able to do something, we should do something. Okay. But at the same time, we should also make sure that we don't get involved in the situation too much. But in general, the idea is that if we do something, we need to do. And nowadays, I think the rules and regulations of reporting on road accident in India has, my understanding is that it has become much more robust. It's not like previously. It's become much more robust. It's much more doable nowadays. That if we see a road accident or if we see someone who is dying on the road, instead of taking a selfie with him and posting it on Instagram, at least we should call the ambulance, or we should call the police, or whatever it is, and then we can say that I'm a passerby and I'm seeing this, and call the emergency service, and then give the information. And those things are much doable, a lot of doable things. And again, regarding the protection, that women should be protected. Again, one should actually see that the time and circumstance, that on what way he can intervene, whether he should call the police, or whether he should make some big ruckus, or he himself is strong enough to go and fight with these guys who are trying to do something with the woman, etc. He should make a clear judgment of what he can do and act intelligently according to the particular situation. But of course, the brahmachari should never get involved with the woman. That does not mean that the brahmachari should not protect a woman. See, these are two different things. Getting involved with the woman is very different from protecting the woman or not protecting the woman. If there is these are natural objects of protection: children, women, elderly people, invalid people. They are all natural objects of protection, and anybody has a responsibility to protect them, but without getting involved with them. Not that you try to protect a woman and then tell her that, okay, now I have protected you, this is my phone number, you please call me whenever these people are coming, or you tell her, can you give me your phone number, then I can give you some Bhagavad Gita class. None of your business. That's it. You did something, you just move on with life. That's it. So that's why I'm saying that one should take a judgment of what is one's duty and how well he is able to execute it in the particular circumstance. That's what should be one's consideration. That's what should be one's consideration. And accordingly, one should decide that what needs to be done. That's what we should do. We should not, if we can do something, we should definitely do it. We should not, not do it. We should definitely do it.
Prajit, just one clarity to bring in this. Like when we say, you shared about the woman wala situation. So one is the physical capability, of a person.
Yes.
Another is knowing one's own vulnerability in the situation. Like say the Devyani case. Now that whether he really wanted to marry or not, that I don't know. But it happened so that he became attached. As he
No. Devyani case is a classic case of duty-bound protection. You should know exactly the detail of that case. Okay, it's a classic case of duty-bound protection. So when what is his name?
Yayati.
When Yayati met Devyani, okay, Devyani was stark naked.
Correct.
And she's a beautiful woman. And she was alone in the forest inside the well. And she was shouting, somebody please save me, somebody please save me. She was shouting. And then Yayati comes there. He sees inside the well. He sees a woman so beautiful, stark naked. What is the first thing he does? He doesn't take out a mobile and take photo of her. He simply removed his upper cloth and threw it inside. He said, first cover yourself. So whatever she could, whichever way she could cover herself, she covered herself. Then he lent a hand, and then she pulled her out. Now, Devyani is proposing to Yayati. You see, she is telling, see, you saw me naked, you took my hand, I am one Brahman lady, I cannot marry anybody else, I have to marry you. Okay. Then what is Yayati's answer? Yayati's answer is, I am Kshatriya. As far as I am concerned, Brahman ladies are like my mother. How can I marry you? This is Yayati's answer to her. So Yayati did not say, oh, you are alone, I am alone, you want to marry me, I want to marry you, let's have a nice time, ooh la la la. He didn't do all those things. He gave her a proper reply. He said, this marriage is not allowed. I am Kshatriya, you are Brahmana. We cannot marry each other. I'm sorry. I saw you in distress, I saved you. That's it, we are done. Then Devyani went one more step. And she told, don't worry, you can still marry me because I have been cursed by Kasa. That I will marry a Kshatriya. My marriage will be Pratiloma marriage. So fate has brought you to me and you have seen me in this condition. So because I already have a curse that I should get married to a Kshatriya, and since you are Kshatriya, and since you have seen me in so and so condition, so I have to get married to you. Then Yayati started woolalala. But till that point, he was just fixed in his conclusion that he cannot marry Devyani. But when Devyani explained the logic of why she proposed to him, then he said, okay, let's have a nice time. That's it. This is how Yayati married Devyani. He did not, just got Devyani and then saw and then, everything is nice. It's not like. So he had a keen sense of duty in offering protection to her. But when she actually gave some reason, some strong reason, which was proper, that why he could get involved with her, and then he got involved with her. Even his involvement with Sharmishta was not out of context because he was a king, and in those times, kings used to have multiple wives. So it was not out of context. It's just Devyani was so, she was so such a lusty woman, what she is. Therefore, she had some problems with that. It was not about Yayati at all. Otherwise, why Yayati will be considered as a great king? Why he will be considered as a great king? So Yayati was right in his initial approach to Devyani. Yayati was very much correct. He was not like he knew what he had to do and what he should not do.
Thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that detail. That exactly brings the delicate point between duty turning into sometimes a mess, no?
Correct.
Like, actually, dutiful situation only, like there are devotees who may be approached that you can help me cultivate my parents. Mataji may tell one brahmachari. But if you do that, the duty goes into the other direction.
No. These kind of things, brahmachari should tell that you please find some grasta devotee who can cultivate. See, this is not duty. Okay, this goes a little bit beyond duty. Like a brahmachari should know that he should not allow a woman to open her heart to him. This is a simple fact. A brahmachari should know this. All this, my parents are like this, my parents are like that, you are very intelligent, you can cultivate my parents. She is opening her heart to you. This is very dangerous. This is like, all color lights should start flashing. Red, yellow, green, amber, violet, whatever color light is there, every light should flash. When a woman wants to talk to a brahmachari, something beyond the service in which they both are involved in, then it's a definite red light. It's a definite red light. Or when a brahmachari wants to talk to a woman, something beyond the service which they may be involved in, like they may both be together in kitchen. Most of the time, kitchen is the brahmachari killer. So they may be involved in kitchen together, and he may be cooking something, she may be cooking something. They may be doing something together during the festival time or something like that. And then the brahmachari sees a woman, unmarried woman, and then she festival, she has dressed herself nicely, and then she has come, and then he says, Mataji, today you are looking really gorgeous. Finished. Because a brahmachari is not meant to observe a woman. Even a grahastha, he is only meant to observe his wife. He is not meant to observe other women. He should not remember what that woman was wearing, what some other woman is wearing, how she is dressing. It is not his business to observe. He is not meant to observe that what kind of various sarees she is wearing, how she is wearing saree, whether she is wearing matching blouse or not wearing matching blouse, what she is wearing here. It's not anybody's business. So a man is not meant to observe the form of a woman. A woman is not meant to observe the form of a man. It's as simple as that. When they start doing these things, then there is danger.
Actually, I was not mentioning on trying to really get into the idea of seeing the forms or not. But there is a shelter seeking side, and then you shared on that when a woman tries to open the heart, that time the brahmachari should cut it.
Yeah.
So that point is noted, but it's not. I'm not obvious. Those are like the obvious no's that one should not observe the form of the woman and try to observe woman. So I understood thank you, Prabhu, for sharing that point about when they open the heart, even if it is related to they may say preaching for the parents or something, it can be done via proper grace.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yes, Krishna.
Prabhuji, we are talking a lot about brahmacharis, but I'm thinking from a grihastha point of view also.
I said grihastha is also not meant to do all those things.
Yeah, so for example, a particular Mataji, she's opening up her heart to a male grihastha, and she's saying, and then what about?
I think last time I made this statement that an emotionally disturbed woman and an intelligent man are a very dangerous combination. They're the most dangerous combination in this world. The emotionally disturbed woman and an intelligent man. Because the intelligent man's nature is to give shelter. The emotionally disturbed woman's nature is to seek shelter. If they come together, there will be disaster.
So my question is that, for example, then this bichara grahastha's house also breaks, and her house also breaks.
So they should not do all these things.
She needs to get married. Then in that case, what does the Shastra say about this thing then?
No, the point is very simple. That is a very simple thing. Women should deal with women, men should deal with men.
Okay.
This is rule. Whether you are grahastha, vanapastha, sannyasi, whatever it is, brahmachari, grahastha, vanapastha, sannyasi, we should follow a simple, plain, basic rule. What is that? Women should deal with women, men should deal with men. In Kali Yuga, even in this there are problems. Forget in dealing with opposite sex there is problem. In dealing with same sex also there is problem. So Kali Yuga is so dangerous. So therefore, we should minimize the risk by women dealing with women, men dealing with men. That's it. As simple as that. Everybody is happy, then we can put a nice the end story and we can keep going.
But then in this case, these two got married, and the other two spouses, they were bichara sad.
Oh, this is all horror story. This is all horror story. This is all horror story. That's why it's very simple. We should keep it.
Incur some, problems in the sense karmas or sins
Because
course.
both of them broke their own houses.
The point is that Chanakya says that an unchaste mother is the greatest enemy of the family. Okay, this is one point. The other point is, Prabhupada says that a woman can get separated from a husband who is a Naradama. But that doesn't mean that she should get married again and engage in prostitution. This is Prabhupada's purport. I think we discussed this last time also, somewhat in detail.
Yeah, but that time I never had this case. This case just came out 1 month back. So
I mean, see, my point is we should not discuss cases. We should just discuss principle. The principle is that this is how we should understand things. The moment you start discussing cases, then it becomes very complicated, because then someone will say, no, this person is justified in doing this, that person is justified in doing that. Cases should be left for case dealers.
yeah, agree.
But we should deal with the principle. The principle is that this is how we should understand. Men should deal with men, women should deal with women. Because if we deal with principle, it is very easy. And then if we try to follow that principle, it becomes even more easier. Then there is no need for case handlers if we just follow these principles.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. I agree with you.
We should just stick to principles, that these are the principles, and everybody should follow these principles for their own good. Nobody should assume that nobody should assume that I'm a Paramahamsa and I can do whatever I want and Maya will not touch me. Nobody should assume such things. Nobody should be under such illusion. Everybody should understand that yes, we may be chanting many rounds, but we are not Haridas Thakur. So if we see a prostitute, we should far run away from that place. We should not try to tell her that you sit, I will finish my chanting and come. This only Haridas Thakur can do. We cannot do such things. So everyone should be afraid of Maya. That's the first rule. What is that? Everyone should be afraid of Maya. So here we see Bharat Maharaj, he was not afraid of Maya. So therefore, he had some heavy consequences. And then he spoke about it to Raghugana in a very candid manner. He spoke about it to Raghugana. Very candidly, he spoke to Raghugana. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, please read. Who is reading?
Gradually, Maharaj Bharat became affectionate towards the deer. He began to raise it and maintain it by giving it. He was always careful to protect it from the attacks of tigers and other animals. When it eased, he petted it, and in this way, he always tried to keep it in a comfortable condition. He sometimes kissed it out of love. Being attached to raising the deer, Maharaj Bharat forgot the rules and regulations for the advancement of spiritual life, and he gradually forgot to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After a few days, he forgot everything about his spiritual advancement.
See, it is so easy to fall down. It's so easy to fall down. So we should not assume that we cannot fall down. It's so easy to fall down. Okay, please, let's continue.
The great King Maharaj Bharat began to think, alas, this helpless young deer, by the force of time, an agent of the Supreme Personality of God, has now lost its relatives and friends and has taken shelter of me. It does not know anyone but me. As I have become its father, mother, brother, and relatives, the deer is thinking in this way, and it has full faith in me. It does not know anyone but me. Therefore, I should not be envious and think that for the deer, my own welfare will be destroyed. I should certainly raise, protect, gratify, and fondle it. When it has taken shelter with me, how can I neglect it? Even though the deer is disturbing my spiritual life, I realize that a helpless person who has taken shelter cannot be neglected. That would be a great fault.
You see, this is why I'm saying that an intelligent man and an emotionally disturbed woman, they should not come together. Then the man starts thinking like this. Then the man starts thinking like this. So this is mind games. Huh? This whole as I said, this whole chapter is about, this whole series of chapters is about mind. Karmatmakam yena sharira bandha. Evam mana karmama samprayunte avidya atmani. That how avidya catches the jiva. The whole sequence is explained. That it is explained from devotee's point of view, and it is explained from the point of view of a devotee who actually reached the stage of bhava. So therefore, it is quite instructive for sadhakas that where they should actually engage their mind. He actually gives a Krishna conscious explanation to Maya. This helpless young deer, by the force of time, an agent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has now lost its relatives and friends and has taken shelter of me. This is a perfect Krishna conscious excuse. So, mind can play very dirty tricks in the most Krishna conscious way to perfectly take us to Maya. So, therefore, that's why Rishabhadev said that when a hunter catches an animal and he puts it in the cage, he never trusts the animal anymore. Same way, a sadhaka should never trust his mind. Never ever he should trust his mind. This will be explained in detail in the conversation between Raghugana and Bharat Maharaj. Okay. Please continue.
Even though one is in the renounced order, one who is advanced certainly feels compassion for suffering living entities. One should certainly neglect his own personal interest, although they may be very important to protect one who has surrendered.
See, this is the strong sense of protecting mentality. It is working now. Okay, please read.
Due to attachment for the deer, Maharaj Bharata lay down with it, walked about with it, bathed with it, and even ate with it. Thus his heart became bound to the deer in affection. When Maharaj Bharat wanted to enter the forest to collect kusha grass, flowers, wood, leaves, fruits, roots, and water, he would fear that dogs, jackals, tigers, and other ferocious animals might kill the deer. He would therefore always take the deer with him when entering the forest.
So that's why in the beginning of fifth canto, Brahma was commenting to Priyavrata that you are always living with 6 co-wives. He was making that comment to Priyavrata that you are thinking that you are actually a brahmachari, but you are actually always living with 6 co-wives, which is the mind and the senses. So, so he said that if your mind and senses are not completely controlled, then what is the use of being alone? Now, he is alone. Maharaj Bharat is alone. Technically, he is like the greatest renouncer. He is alone, but the mind and senses are not under control. So therefore, even though he is alone, even though he is in the forest, right now he is actually worse than a family man. Okay. Please read.
When entering the forest, the animal would appear very attractive to Maharaj Bharat due to its childish behavior. Maharaj Bharat would even take the deer on his shoulders and carry it due to affection. His heart was so filled with great love for the deer that he would sometimes keep it on his lap or when sleeping on his chest. In this way, he felt great pleasure in fondling the animal.
So, at least Maharaj Bharat was at least doing it to the deer, but people are doing now this to the dogs. They sleep with the dog, they wake up with the dog, they eat with the dog. They also howl with the dog. Okay, please read.
When Maharaj Bharat was actually worshipping the Lord or was engaged in some ritualistic ceremony, although his activities were unfinished, he would still, at intervals, get up and see where the deer was. In this way, he would look for it, and when he could see that the deer was comfortably situated, his mind and heart would be very satisfied, and he would bestow his blessings upon the deer, saying, "My dear calf, may you be happy in all respects."
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
If Bharat Maharaj sometimes could not see the deer, his mind would be very agitated. He would become like a miser who, having obtained some riches, had lost them and had then become very unhappy. When the deer was gone, he would be filled with anxiety and would lament due to separation. Thus, he would become illusioned and speak as follows.
So these are some clear symptoms of a disturbed mind. If you actually take out the context of a deer and you can put anything else, deer is just a trope, it's just a placeholder. So you can remove the deer and you can put anything else. You can put money, you can put position, you can put a woman, you can put gulab jamun, you can put anything. And if mind is displaying the symptoms towards those material objects, it may be a mobile phone, whatever it is, or it may be a position, it may be anything. If mind is displaying some symptoms, these symptoms towards that material object or towards that particular situation, then we should clearly understand that the mind is disturbed and it is pushing us into the material pool. We should clearly understand that. Okay, I think we should stop here because it's already 1:45. We'll continue tomorrow. There was some delay today to join, but tomorrow I'll be on time. So see you tomorrow. Come back on time and let's continue with this pastime. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bharat Maharaj ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hare Hare Bol.